Hey y'all, welcome to another franchise slander session on I Have a Slide for That. I'm your host, Deera. Now, if you've been following I Have a Slide for That for some time, you'd have noticed that my solo videos have almost always been me beefing with franchises. And well, if you don't like it, it's too bad.
No one can stop me.
Anyway, let's get to it. Today, we are talking about the High School Musical franchise. That's right, High School Musical. And let me be transparent. When these movies first came out, I was a diehard fan, as in my folks took me to see High School Musical on ice. But rewatching this as I got older made me realize that something was kind of wrong. Um, it made me realize that Sharpay had been deeply misread by the High School Musical franchise. And honestly, it's a shame. Because when you look closely, Sharpay isn't the villain of the story. She's the one consistently punished for taking the role seriously. And to me, that is an honest to God High School Musical tragedy. So let's jump into it. Sharpay is usually described as shallow, dramatic, selfish, and sometimes even cruel. But when you break that down, what she actually is popular, honest, blunt, and reasonably upset when she is treated unfairly. Guys, those are not villain traits, those are human reactions. So the question becomes, why does the narrative treat her like she's a problem? Well, Sharpay is framed as the antagonist for wanting what she worked for acknowledging that competition does exist, and for reacting emotionally to betrayal. At the same time, the actions that actively harm her, as in lying, sabotage, public humiliation, are minimized or even reframed as justified. So, right away, there's this disconnect between behavior and blame. Something that the films consistently downplay is that Sharpay and Ryan are low-key professionals. I mean, they've been performing since they were kids. They train, they rehearse, they understand the whole audition process of auditioning, going to callbacks, and they are very committed. Okay? They don't just want the spotlight, they've prepared for that, and that actually does matter. But to really understand what's wrong, we need to start from the very beginning. That's right, movie number one, High School Musical. Now, Troy and Gabriella didn't audition on time for this musical. They didn't rehearse consistently. They were unsure as to whether they even wanted to be there in the first place. And yet the story bends to accommodate them. Sharpay, who follows every rule, is framed as unreasonable for being frustrated. People disrupting the system are rewarded, and the one person defending it is villainized. Hmm. There's also the way Sharpay is treated socially. Gabriella's friends create a coordinated plan to embarrass her in public. That's framed as standing up to a bully. Sharpay reacting emotionally to that betrayal is framed as proof that she deserved it. Guys, that is not justice, that is narrative bias. And this is where a pattern starts to emerge for these kinds of movies. Like, for example, Troy's basketball game, one. Gabriella's decathlon, one. Sharpay's dream, ripped from her. This happens over and over again. The story rewards the same people, and Sharpay is the cost. You would think it couldn't get worse from there, but lo and behold, High School Musical 2. This happens in the summer. The second movie, Sharpay is accused of being selfish for wanting a relaxing summer, but instead she uses her family's resources to get her entire class well paying jobs. She creates opportunities, she connects people. I mean, she does it reluctantly, but she does so effectively. And professionalism is once again treated like a moral failing. Because how do these people repay her? First of all, they show up late, they slack off, they mock her authority, and when Sharpay expects basic effort in a workplace environment that she helped create, she is painted as controlling. The expectation to take work seriously is framed as cruelty. Not to mention the talent show. Sharpay plans the entire talent show alone. She could easily exclude Troy. Instead, she decides to include him and give him a space to succeed. And thus giving him a secondary option for a possible career. She sees potential in his musical talents, and she doesn't want him to miss out on that possibility. She prioritizes his future. You guys, let's be real. That is not manipulation, that is care. Gabriella, meanwhile, avoids communication, refuses to engage, and ultimately leaves. Sharpay stays. She tries, she absorbs the fallout, but only one of them is criticized for how they handle conflict. And surprise, surprise, it's not the person who lacks communication. Troy benefits from Sharpay's connections, her efforts, and her forgiveness. But then he lies. He betrays her trust, and then he walks away. Sharpay still forgives him in the end. Again, this is not villain behavior, you guys. But wait, there's more! Because here we are now in High School Musical 3 senior year. By the third movie, Sharpay is facing graduation, the loss of identity, structure, and certainty. She wants one good final show, one moment she can be proud of. She forgives everyone who has hurt her over the course of the past two movies. At this point, she just wants closure. And yet, for the third time, the musical is disrupted. Her spotlight is taken. Her future is minimized. And the story treats this as acceptable, inevitable even. Sharpay, unfortunately, loses the lead. She loses her dream school. She ends up doing unpaid community theater. However, the others move on, supported, celebrated, and confident. Sharpay is expected to accept less and be grateful for it. So the question becomes, why is Sharpay the only one expected to be accountable? Why do the rules only apply to her? And why do outcomes consistently favor the same people? This question becomes even more interesting in Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. That's right, her own spin-off movie. She is now in unfamiliar territory. She leaves Troy, she leaves Gabriella, Sharpay Evans leaves high school. For the first time, she is completely on her own. In New York City, there isn't a pre selection. There isn't protection, there isn't immediate rewards, and she is treated just like everyone else. And what does she do? She adjusts. That's right. She auditions seriously. She faces rejection. She works harder. Her ambition does not disappear, it matures. And most importantly, nothing is handed to her. The film frames this as a lesson in humility, as if Sharpay needed to be punished for wanting success. But the evidence actually suggests something else. Sharpay was never entitled, she was simply unsupported. When Sharpay is alone, effort aligns with outcome, okay? Consequences make sense. Growth leads to success. And for the first time, the system feels fair. That is something that was previously absent. In conclusion, Sharpay Evans operates under the assumption that the world is fair, where efforts matter, rules apply, and actions have consequences. When the environment, the world, is fair and principles hold, she is able to adapt, grow, and succeed. She thrives. When it isn't, she's blamed for noticing. The problem was never her ambition to succeed or come out on top. It was a system she was forced to navigate in. Anyway, thanks for watching out. And as always, you should probably subscribe or whatever for vibe sites and questionable life knowledge because no matter the topic, we probably have a slide for that. Keep calm and slide on. Peace out.
Hey, how'd it go?
Yeah, no, it went fine.
What happened?
I don't know. I mean, while I was editing, I just kept noticing that things sort of just happened around Gabriella.
What do you mean?
It's probably just nothing.